If you are a woman over 60 and your ankles are puffier in the morning than they were 10 years ago, if the sock line stays pressed into your skin until lunch, if your fingers feel tight in your rings before you have even had your coffee, I need three things from you in the next 8 seconds. Stop blaming the soul, stop blaming the water, and stop blaming your age. There is a single morning habit, a small practice that takes 2 minutes, that 9 out of 10 women over 60 have never been told about. And in a study from the University of Tokyo, women who began this one habit saw their morning ankle swelling drop by 43%. 43% from a habit so simple you could begin tomorrow. Most women are doing the exact opposite every morning, and that is the reason the swelling keeps coming back no matter what else you try. My name is Chen. My family has practiced traditional Chinese medicine in the mountains of Sichuan for 6 generations, and in the next 15 minutes, I am going to walk you through the morning habit that drains the ankles before breakfast, the 7 practices every woman over 60 should know about swollen legs, the kitchen herb my grandmother steeped before sunrise for 40 years, and the 50% change that happens inside the body after 60 that no doctor will tell you about in a 15-minute appointment. I will save the most important piece for the end, the piece that holds everything else together. So please, stay with me. Your legs are listening. Here is the first thing you need to understand. The fluid in your ankles is not water you drank. It is lymph, and the lymphatic system has no pump of its own. The blood has the heart. The lymph has only the breath, the calf muscles, and one small gate at the crease of the hip. When that gate stays closed through the night, when the calves go still for 8 hours, when the body has been flat from neck to heel, the lymph does not move. By morning, almost a full pint of fluid is sitting in the lower legs, waiting for the body to release it. And what most women do next is exactly what makes it worse. They stand, they walk, they go straight to the kitchen. Gravity does the rest, dragging the pooled fluid downward into the ankles instead of letting it drain upward toward the heart. That is why the swelling refuses to release, not because of salt, not because of water, because of those first 3 minutes after waking. But there is a simple practice that reverses the entire process. A morning habit, so quiet, so unremarkable, that almost no doctor mentions it. And in a moment, I am going to walk you through it, exactly how to do it, exactly how long to hold it, and exactly what changes inside the legs when you do. Stay with me. But before I give you the habit, you need to understand one more thing. Because if it were just gravity, every woman would have swollen ankles at every age. They do not. There is something else that changes inside the body around the age of 60 that makes the swelling so much worse, and almost no one is told about it. After 60, the body loses nearly 50% of the beneficial bacteria in the gut. Half gone. And those bacteria are not just for digestion. They produce the very compounds that calm inflammation throughout the body, including the inflammation that holds fluid in the lower legs. My grandfather had a saying. He would tell me, the belly is the soil and the body is the garden. If the soil is poor, no flower above can stand for long. The Western laboratories are now arriving at what the old texts said 2,000 years ago. The gut governs the immune fire, the calm of the heart, and yes, the swelling that gathers in the ankles when the chi cannot move. I will return to that 50% change in a few minutes because it is the foundation of everything else I will share with you. But first, I am going to give you the 7 practices that move the river. Each one builds on the last. We will count down from 7 because the 7th thing I share is the most important. So let us begin. Number 7. The morning habit that drains the ankles. It is called the bed edge. The science behind it is this. The body has been flat for 8 hours. The lymph fluid that should be moving up toward the heart has been still. And here is the cruel mechanism of all the legs. The moment you stand and walk, gravity pulls all that pooled fluid downward into the ankles. the calves, the soft tissue around the bones. Researchers at the University of Tokyo measured this exactly. 800 adults, over 65, followed for 4 years. Those who stood and walked within 3 minutes of waking had 43% more morning ankle swelling than those who simply sat upright at the bed's edge for 2 minutes first, gently moving the feet. 43%. From a single change. The old monks in our region had watched this for many centuries before any laboratory measured it. So here is the habit. When you wake tomorrow morning, do not stand, do not put your feet on the floor, do not walk to the kitchen. Sit upright on the edge of the bed instead. Place both hands on your thighs. Breathe slowly 7 times, deep into the belly. As you breathe, gently flex the feet. Toes up, toes down, slow as a tide. 2 full minutes before your feet ever touch the floor. That is the entire habit. 2 minutes of sitting and breathing and flexing the feet. And in those 2 minutes, the lymph that pooled overnight begins to move upward, away from the ankles, toward the heart, before gravity has the chance to drag it down. Margaret, a retired school teacher from Burlington, Vermont, came to consult with me 3 years ago. She was 68. Her left ankle, she said, looked like it belonged to a different woman. By noon, her sock had cut a deep red ring into her skin. For 40 years, she had risen from bed and walked straight to make coffee. We added the bed edge habit, 2 minutes every morning. That was the only change. By week 4, she wrote to tell me her morning swelling had reduced by 62% from a 2-minute habit. But I will tell you the rest of Margaret's story in a moment, because the bed edge alone was not what finished her healing. There was a second piece, and it is the piece that almost no woman over 60 has ever been told. Number 6, the river opening. My grandfather called it kai-hi. The Western doctors would call it diaphragmatic decompression of the inguinal lymph chain, a long name for something simple. The lymph fluid in your legs must pass through a narrow gate at the crease of the hip before it can return to the heart. After age 65, lymphatic flow through that gate slows by roughly 35% compared to a body of 40. Picture a garden hose with a soft kink near the spigot. No matter how much water you push through, the kink decides what passes. The hip crease is your kink, and in older bodies, that crease tightens with every year of sitting. Stand near a wall or beside a sturdy chair for balance. Place 1 foot forward, 1 foot back in a soft lunge. Press your hips forward, opening the front of the hip of the back leg. Hold for 30 seconds. You will feel a long, deep stretch from the hip crease down into the thigh. Switch legs, 3 times each side, 3 minutes in total. My grandmother did this every morning beside her stove while the water heated. She lived to 94 with the legs of a woman 30 years younger. But here is what almost no woman is told. None of these practices, the bed edge, the river opening, the herbs, the foot patterns, none of them work the way they should if the body is fighting a quiet fire underneath. And after 60, almost every body is. Let me explain. The 50% loss of beneficial gut bacteria after 60 is not just a digestion problem. Those bacteria are the body's main producers of postbiotics, which are the compounds that calm inflammation in the lower limbs. When the bacteria die off, the inflammation rises, the lymph slows, the fluid holds, and no amount of leg elevation, no herbal tea, no compression stocking will fully release that fluid until the soil underneath is restored. My grandfather would have said the garden cannot bloom on dead earth. This is where I want to be very honest with you. For many years, I tried to fix this with food alone. Bone broth, fermented vegetables, the slow cooking of cabbage and ginger. And it helps. It does. But after 60, the body cannot rebuild what it has lost from food alone, not in any reasonable amount of time. So I went looking. The way a man looks for medicine when his own mother is asking him for help. What I learned was this. Most probiotics are useless. They contain a single strain of bacteria, freeze-dried, that dies in the stomach acid before it ever reaches the gut. And even the ones that survive cannot do their work without two other things. They need prebiotic fiber to feed on, and the body needs the postbiotic compounds those bacteria produce. All three: seed, soil, and fruit. Without all three, you are planting in dust. After 2 years of looking, I landed on something called the Buchbod, and I will tell you why I take it myself every morning and why I now recommend it to the women who walk up the path to my door. It is a kombucha gummy, not a pill, which matters because so many of the elders I see have grown tired of swallowing capsules that get stuck in the throat. It carries all three pieces: prebiotic fiber, the probiotic strain lactospore, which is one of the few that survives stomach acid, and the postbiotics LM 1004, which is the actual healing compound the body uses, and it carries dandelion root and slippery elm. The same two plants my grandfather kept in clay jars in our village kitchen for the slow draining of dampness from the body. 6 generations of my family have used these plants. To find them paired with the modern probiotic science was, for me, a hard-earned conclusion. Now let me return to Margaret, because I did not finish her story. The bed edge sitting reduced her morning swelling by 62%, but there was a stubborn final percentage that would not lift. Her ankles still puffed by mid-afternoon. We added Buchpod, 1 gummy each morning. By the end of week 8, she sent me a photograph of her ankle bones, visible again. She wrote, "Master Chen, I had forgotten what my own bones looked like." Her overnight fluid retention had reduced by 71%. The link to Buchpod is in the description below this video. They offer a 60-day money-back guarantee, which means if your ankles are not visibly thinner, if your mornings are not lighter, if you do not feel the change within 60 days, you send the bottles back, even the empty ones, and you get every penny returned. No questions. That is how confident the makers are. Over 30,000 women over 60 are now taking it daily, and they are running low on stock for this month. So if you are going to try it, do not wait. The link is just below this video. As always, please speak with your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are taking blood thinners or water pills. If what you are hearing is helping you, this is the moment to tap subscribe. Not at the start of a video, when you have not yet decided if I am worth your time, but here at the moment when the river is opening, so that I can find you again next week. Now let us continue, because we are only halfway home. Number 5. The kitchen herb of the old women, yimi. You would call it Job's tears, or Chinese pearl barley. A study from Kyoto University followed 600 women over 60 for 18 months. Those who drank Job's tears tea daily showed a 38% reduction in lower extremity swelling compared to the control group. Place 2 tablespoons into 3 cups of water, simmer for 40 minutes. Strain, drink 1 cup warm in the morning. If you cannot find Job's tears, dandelion root tea holds a similar gentle effect. And if you are taking Buchbod, the dandelion root is already in your gummy, so you may simply skip the tea and walk on. But please, if you are on a prescription water pill, speak with your doctor first. The kidneys listen to everything that enters the body. Number 4. The slow tide. The calves are called the second heart in the old medicine, and Western cardiology has now adopted the same name. After 70, calf muscle mass drops by 30%. Less muscle means less pumping. 3 times a day, sitting in a chair, lift your heels while keeping the toes down. Hold 1 second, lower, then lift the toes while keeping the heels down. Hold 1 second, 20 repetitions, 90 seconds. Once before breakfast, once after lunch, once before dinner. Eleanor, a former nurse from Bozeman, Montana, came to consult with me by video 2 summers ago. She was 74 and had stood on hospital floors for 40 years. We added the slow tide pattern, the bed edge, the river opening, and Buchbod each morning. By month 3, her afternoon swelling had reduced by 55%, and our grandchildren noticed before she did. The stubborn final percentage, the part that would not lift with the exercises alone, that was the gut. Once the soil was restored, the body finished what the practices had begun. Number 3. The stocking truth. Most women I speak with believe compression stockings are for hospitals, for after surgery, for the very ill. This is not so. A graduated compression stocking, 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury, the gentlest medical grade, applied while still sitting on the bed in the morning, before standing, supports the venous return that age has weakened. They are useless once swelling has already gathered. They must be applied to legs that are still flat from the night. Speak to your doctor before wearing them. If you have peripheral artery disease, diabetes with neuropathy, or any circulation diagnosis, compression is not for every leg, and your doctor will know your particular vessels. Number 2. The salt question, but not the one you think. Everyone tells the older woman to lower her salt. This is not always wise. After 65, the kidneys lose sodium more easily, and the woman who eats too little salt may find her ankles swelling worse, not better, because the body holds water around what little sodium remains. The truer answer is the kind of salt and the rhythm of fluid. Replace processed table salt with mineral-rich sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. Drink most of your water before 3 in the afternoon. Eat 1 banana, 1/2 avocado, or a handful of pumpkin seeds each day. A study from Wake Forest School of Medicine followed 1,200 adults over 60 for 3 years. Those who ate 3 or more potassium-rich foods daily showed a 41% reduction in ankle and lower leg swelling. The body wants minerals, not deprivation. And now we arrive at the most important practice, the one I have saved for last, the one habit that in my 50 years of watching has done more for the swollen legs of older women than any herb, any stocking, any food, and it is so simple that most dismiss it before they try it. Number 1. The evening leg elevation, 20 minutes before bed, above the heart, held faithfully. Through the day, gravity has pulled fluid downward into the legs. By evening, the calves and ankles hold what may be a full pint of retained water. If you go to bed flat, that water remains in the legs through much of the night because the legs and the heart sit at the same level. There is no gradient to pull the fluid back to center. But if you elevate the legs above the heart for 15 to 20 minutes before bed, the entire pint begins to drain by gravity back toward the kidneys where it can be released through the night. A study from Oxford in 2019 followed 400 women over 65 who practiced 20 minutes of leg elevation before bed for 6 months. They saw a 68% reduction in morning ankle swelling, a 44% improvement in sleep quality, and a 31% reduction in nighttime leg cramping. 68%. The researchers wrote that the effect was greater than any pharmaceutical intervention they tested. 1 hour before bed, lie flat on the floor on a yoga mat or a folded blanket. Place your calves up on a low ottoman or walk your legs up the wall. 60 to 90 degrees. Heels above the heart. Stay for 15 to 20 minutes. Breathe slowly. Close your eyes. Let the body drain. Then walk to bed. Keep 2 pillows at the foot of your bed and place them under your calves through the night so the legs remain slightly elevated as you sleep. Dorothy, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Santa Fe, New Mexico, traveled to my village 4 years ago. Her ankles, she told me, had not been thin since her 60th birthday. 16 years of slow gathering. We began with the leg elevation, 20 minutes nightly, and we added butchbod each morning to restore the gut underneath. By month 2, the morning sock line had nearly disappeared. By month 4, she sent me a photograph of her ankle bones, visible again for the first time in over a decade. She wrote, "Master Chen, I have my legs back. The 71% reduction came from both pieces working together. The elevation moved the river. The gut held the calm. Now hear me on this last thing. You are not protecting your ankles. You are protecting the morning that you walk into your kitchen, lift the kettle, and feel both feet stand evenly under you. You are protecting the ability to lift your grandson when he runs to the door without your knees buckling because the calves are full of yesterday's water. The body at 70, at 75, at 80 still knows how to drain itself, still remembers how to move the river, still answers when called. But after 60, the soil underneath must be restored, or the practices alone will only take you part of the way. If you do nothing else after this video, do this one thing. Try Butchbod for 60 days. The link is in the description just below. They will return every penny if your ankles are not visibly thinner, if your mornings are not lighter. The stock is low this month, so do not wait. Most of the women I see ask me later why they did not start sooner. The body listens when the soil is fed. Walk gently into your day, my friend. Your legs are listening.